I'm going to be undertaking a new challenge when the golf courses reopen. Last year, I tried to break 28 on the back nine at Warrington. I was unsuccessful. I think there was a couple of areas that held me back in that challenge. Number one, trying to shoot 8 under par. I did it once, some heck of a score, so I think it was almost a little bit unrealistic. But aside from that, I think my wedge play wasn't good enough. And I also think my driving wasn't good enough. I'm generally a pretty good iron player. So what I wanted to do before we get back out onto the golf course, I wanted to get my wedge game in sharp shape, ready to go for my new challenge, which will be revealed when the courses open back up. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do a test. I'm going to try and do this test maybe once a week if I record it, or I'll do one a month where I will actually publicise my results on here. And it's aimed at getting me better at my wedge play, because I see part of my new challenge, if I get sharp at my wedges, it'll give me a heck of a chance to really achieve the goal that I'm going to set myself. So I'm going to do this test, and what I'm going to do also at the end of the video, once I've done my test, I'm going to use this as a benchmark starting out. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to be working on and give you a few tips on how to improve your wedges as well. So let's use the Foresight Sports technology, the GC2, get my wedge game in. It's 3 areas, a 50-yard shot, a 75-yard shot and a 100-yard shot. Each has 15 points available, so 75 points are the maximum. I think if I get 40 today, I've done well, because I've not done that much practice over lockdown. And like I say, my wedges were pretty bad. So let's get going. Let's see what I can do. Comment down below how many points do you think I'm going to get. I'm going to embarrass myself here and get 20 points. But let's fire in. Let's see how many we get. So the test is 50 yards, 75 yards, 100 yards. Each has 3 rings, a 5-point ring, a 3-point ring and a 1-point ring, going from 5 yards in diameter, 10 yards and 15 yards. Ideally, I don't go near that 15-yard ring. I want to see that I'm inside 10 yards of these flags each time to give me a chance of holding putts when it comes to my challenge out on the golf course. So first one, 50 yards. I'm going to go 54 degree. I'll be using that for the 75 as well. Then I'm going to transition up to my 50 for the 100 yard. Let's see how we get on. Slightly optimistic, but also dreading this a little bit. First shot. Not a bad start. 3 points, 11 feet, a bit pulley. That is one of my tendencies. I tend to either pull it or leak it and hit a short right one. Long left, short right. Great misses to have. Go, go! Yes. Oh, that's rubbish. So fat. That is what I'm talking about. You can't do that out on the golf course. Got 10 yards to the pin there. Just a big chunk. Oh, Matt, what is that? 14 yards to the pin. Oh. That, it started so well. That is more like it, Matty boy. 5 points, couple of feet. Where was that on shot 3 and 4? 1'9". Woo! So 11 points there. One of my faults that I feel that I have was starting to come out is where I don't set the club with my wrists enough. I tend to just pick the club up with my arms quite a bit when I get into a pitch shot, because it's not requiring a lot of power. And I do this throughout my bag really. When I get up to drive, when I'm not feeling confident or I get a little bit lazy, my tendencies in my swing, I just pick the club up. I don't actually have any hinge in my wrists here, which is going to obviously cause a lack of leverage, which is going to cause a lack of club head speed, lack of distance. We saw that I lack distance when I miss those, so that's one of the faults that I tend to have. Let's go into the 75. see if it can get any better. We need 29 points from the next 10 shots. 75 yards, still using the 54 degree. Let's see, like I've just talked you through that issue, let's see if I can actually remedy that a little bit. Okay, that's what I'm talking about there, that short right miss. 1 point. 1 bloody point. That's better. Be a 5. Be a 5. Yes. No points. Sit. Sit. Simmer, simmer, simmer. Ah, a little bit too long. 12 points on there, we're up to 23. My aim was to get to 40. Can't do that, can only get to 38. Second problem I find with my pitching is all about my body turn. I don't, again, when I lift the club, I pick it up and my torso and my hips, more importantly, stay very still. So then when I come out, I find that I end up throwing the club a little bit, which leads to that short right miss, because I end up spinning out trying to save it and then hold the face a little bit and leak it to the right. So I need to work on that. Final target though, can we just do something big? 100-yard shot, I'm going up to my 50 degree. Let's see if I can remedy those problems. Hinge it and turn it. Oh, it's left. It's left. It's left. Let's flip my hands at that. Oh no! That was such a good swing. Oh, I deserve 5. Got away with that one. That was just so quick. So, 29 points. Not far away from my 40. Yeah, pretty average, I would call that. A few bad shots in there, a few decent ones, but 2 issues identified for myself there. That lack of set in the wrists and that rotation. So I'm going to hop over now into another little bit of a video and give you some ideas. I mean, do you want to take tips from me after that bad performance? I know how to teach it, but doing it for myself, that's something we need to improve on. That's what this is all about. But yeah, 2 things that is going to help you get better at pitching. Let's go and take a look at those now. Okay, so let's give you 2 things to help your pitching that it's going to be what I'm working on basically. So if you're someone who's struggling with picking it up a little bit too much, you feel like you're very arms orientated in your pitch and swing, and you get a lot of fats, you get a lot of thins, and you struggle with directional and distance control, these are definitely going to help you. First thing, like I said, I struggled with that distance control, and I struggled with a consistent lack of power, I would say. And that was because, like I say, I was struggling with my wrist set. Now, I've been sent the Total Golf Trainer, not an ad for it or anything like that. You can stick a T-peg into your club if you've not got one of these, but this is what I'm going to be using for myself and the drill that I want you guys to learn from. So with this there, we can see that big red ball obviously sticking out. And the thing with myself is that when I start pitching, and this runs through all of my game as well, when I get a little bit lazy and don't commit to making like a proper golf swing, as it were, or really focus on my movements that I'm trying to make, what I tend to do is just get a little bit lazy, like I say, and pick my arms up. I don't turn my torso, I don't turn my hips, and I get a little bit wooden and restricted in my lead wrist. Now for me, when I do that, that really limits my distance and my lack of power. So on some of those there, we saw, like with the 50 yard ones to start off with, I hit one that was 10 yards short and one that was 14 yards short, which is just, you know, on a 50 yard shot I could kick it closer. So what I need to make sure that I'm doing all the time, even on a short shot like that, is I don't want to get too wooden. So the aim of this drill for me is basically thinking about where the butt of the club is, and it's just highlighted by this, in that as I go back here, I can now see that I've got the ball, or my tee peg, whatever it may be, pointing towards the ground. The shaft of the club is splitting me in half at like a 45-degree angle. If I pick it up, A, the shaft isn't splitting it, and B, you can't see that ball because the butt of the club isn't pointing at the ground there. So when I get a little bit picked up, I then end up racing with my body trying to save it, and I'll either leave the face open and hit that high right short shot, or I realise that I've rushed with my body to try and save it, then I try and save it again with my hands and end up closing the face down and hit that low long left one. So for me, I've got to feel now when I do this, if you are someone, like I say, who feels that you're very just wishy-washy with the arms and just moving your arms in your pitching swing, we want to feel strong. We want to get some width in that lead arm and get this wrist set in your lead wrist, so you can actually create a little bit of leverage here to actually use throughout the swing. Like I say, even though it's a small shot, we've still got to generate power. I'm not looking to smash it like a driver, but it's not so simple that I just whiffed my arms at it a little bit or waft my arms at it. I've still got to make sure that I'm getting this set, and what that also does for me as well is stop the club getting really steep, because if I pick it up and down like so, I'm approaching the ground a little bit too steep there. So that's when my fats come in. Obviously in here it's not grass, so if I don't quite catch it, I can get away with it. Out on the golf course, it might really start to show me up, and I get like the odd pitch where I duff it, you know, 30 yards when I'm trying to hit a 50-yard one. So I've got to make sure I get that width by feeling that I set my wrists and not just lifting my arms. So that is the first thing we've got to use to see that we're going to stop hitting dodgy pitches. A little bit more width and a little bit more set to allow me to generate the speed and the correct arc. The second thing ties into that sort of laziness in my swing as well. Definitely with my driver, and this is probably the second thing I want to address, which I'll probably do like another little bit of a challenge thing and a progression on how I'm going to improve on that, so you guys can learn from that as well, is that when I start to pitch and I use my arms, my torso, my hips in particular, don't turn. I just lift the club up into place here, and this shuts down. So what I need to feel a little bit more is that A, they are turning, but then because they're now turning, that they don't race out on the downswing trying to compensate for no turn. And what I've got to try and feel like, especially in my pitching, and this is where a full swing differs to a pitch shot, we've got to feel that everything's turning at the same rate. So my club, my arms, my chest, my hips are all working at the same rate through impact. Like I say, partly because of my lack of coordination and timing with my torso and my hips. That's why I was missing it right and left as well, because I was trying to rush, then I was just altering what was happening with the club face. So what I've got to try and feel, once I now get my good set into place, the red ball, when I come down, I want to feel that it's looking into my torso. Again, look at the butt of the club, that's shining into my torso. I'm not A, spinning out and shining here, or B, throwing it and shining it back out this way. I've got to feel that as I'm coming through, I would turn at the same rate here. So as I go through here, I can then keep it looking into me and turn and hold off there. So that's going to allow me to match everything up and get this nice tempo, instead of having like a stop start, stop start, stop start, and trying to just fudge it as I'm going through. So I would feel that I set and turn at the same rate. So more comes from sort of, I feel it more in my stomach and my torso being the engine of my pitch shot instead of my arms. I feel once I've set it, I turn at the same rate, and then what I should be able to do, hopefully, is start to actually hit a bit of a cleaner pitch. That was a little bit skinny, but as I go through, set it, turn at the same rate, and we should start to see a better strike like that and start to actually gain some control of my pitches. So guys, I hope you have enjoyed that there. Also comment down below, what do you think the challenge is going to be? I'm not going to try and shoot 8 under par and 9 holes again. I mean, I got close at 5, but the task was just too much for me. So comment down below, what do you think the new challenge is? Do you like these sort of little mini series as well, where I'll show you how I'm going to improve myself? Leave me a comment on that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.